Live.
Yeah, I am. I'm waiting. It's my phone is there. It's right in front of me.
Hi,
It's
Tina.
funny because it's like
We're
this
live.
is the first post when I open my IG at Maprema IG. It's Leah and Mavis.
Can you see yourself, Leah? Are you live?
I see myself. Yeah, it says we're telling. Oh, we already have one person in. There's Mavis.
Okay. So what
Okay.
you do now, Leah, is click the plus
Hi,
button
Frank.
with the video plus button underneath, up and down left.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out the tech here because this is the first time I'm using this. So plus video, there you go.
Button
Press
there.
that.
And then invite Mavis. Look for Mavis's
I found her.
username. And
Okay.
yeah, I'm gonna go on Instagram now to see what's happening.
Yeah, I can see her live.
Okay, let me check.
There she is! Oh my God, this is so much fun. Hi, Maria. Hi, Sanj. Hi, Nathan. Okay, I'm going to switch you off here. Bye, guys.
It's a party. You're gonna let them go?
Yeah.
Can't they stay?
No, because they're here.
They're my security blanket.
Hi, everyone. Teddy's here. Okay. Hi. I open my phone and I see this. Well, I'm glad you opened your phone. Hi. This is
Yvette,
going
it's
to be
Leah's
fun.
birthday. This is why
Hi,
we're doing this. We're having a party. Hi, Chicky. Hi,
Hey,
Teddy.
Phil Benitez is here. Bernie, hi. Hi,
Happy
Rina.
birthday to Leah.
Vicky.
Oh my God, Leah, what are we doing?
Oh, fun, Chicky. Oh my God. Okay, this is going to be a
James, are
fun
you
party.
recording this?
Leah Magallanes. Well, I hope so. I did everything Nathan
Leah
told me to say.
Magallanes, sending love.
Solen Santos. Hi, Solen. I miss you. Hi, Gail. Hi, Raquel. Hi, Joyce. Okay.
Woo.
Thank you, Bernie. Why am I shouting?
I know. We're excited.
I should talk
I'm waiting for
normally.
Mia Camus. Where is
There
Mia?
she is.
Oh,
There she is. She just joined. Amy, thank you.
Hi, Mia.
Okay, just tell us if the volume's loud because Mavis and I tend to speak both really loudly. Hi. Hi, boy slash Mavis. It's boy
Oh my
abunda ka
God,
daw,
Vicky,
sabi ni
boy,
Mavis.
abunda
Eh,
tayo.
sabi ni
You're
Mia.
so nakakainis talaga. That was the last message I read before getting on this. Mia said, is Mavis now boy abunda? Me, watch. I'm not. You should be here, me. Come na lang to my house so you can help me ask questions.
No, she knows
Mia said
everything
she wants
about
to be
me.
you. Yeah, she wants to be you. She will tell all your stories. I think that's
I have
exactly
known,
the reason why it's
Mia
not you.
knows my entire life. Hi, Raquel. Oh, we will laugh for you a lot today. Okay, so welcome everyone. Hey, Malu. Okay, so let's get started. Yeah, basically, this is something, well, Mavis sort of, at one point or another, Mavis lives above me, by the way, so we're neighbors. And at one point or another, she said, you know, we should teach this to people. And since we go to each other's homes wearing pajamas, our original plan was to do like videos with us just talking and going into a deep dive. And of course, it never materialized, as with everything that you just plan and plan and plan. And so this morning, as I was walking to have coffee with her, I got this idea of, I would just do it today. It's my birthday. And so when I saw her, the first thing I said, it's my birthday and you can't say no. And we're doing the IG Live today. And here we are. So we're completely unprepared, completely unscripted, and no planning. And the whole concept of what we had wanted to do was to be able to teach self-love in a more grounded way, in a way in which it really just comes out through conversation. And for those of you who know Mavis well, you know that she asks a lot of questions, and I guess that's a great way to prompt me into talking about my teachings and all of that. So Mavis, it's all yours. I'm right here.
I think today is going to be about your story, Lee.
My story, yes.
And if there's anything that I feel so privileged to have had a glimpse of, it's really your heart, your brave heart. I see that. I see that every morning we're together. I do. And this is when you're in your pajamas having your coffee, and I think there's just always been a part of me that wishes people would see the same. And that's the intention I'm setting for today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so why today, Leah? I mean, I had so many things planned, and you're like, Edgy, today, I'm ready, let's do it. What do you think came over you in that elevator ride down?
Because yesterday wasn't a good day for me. And yesterday I woke up feeling sad and I was just crying. And I needed to allow myself to go through that because I knew there was a transition about to happen. And so I stayed in pajamas and, well, no, I dressed up to go buy chips, and then I came home and got into my pajamas and watched Netflix, blasted my air conditioning, and just cried and watched Netflix and ate potato chips the whole day. And it was only when I woke up this morning that I realized what that whole thing was for. And remember, the whole thing of forgiveness was supposed to happen. And yeah, Mavis and I had lunch Monday because she's leaving, and my son was supposed to be with me, so that was the only time we could get together. And she gave me cards, which I love, and the part of that reading was forgiveness. And I thought it was forgiving other people in my life, and I just realized that it was forgiving myself, that there's still so many parts of myself I haven't forgiven. And that was the realization. And so that, and you and several other people that have really gone to my workshops, gone to my retreats, attend Raising Frequencies, have said, we want to see you more vulnerable. And I was like, what? I share na nga so much. Kulang pa. and yet the feedback has always been, you're so guarded. And so I wanted to let that guard down. And I thought today, being my birthday, would be a great way to usher in this me that is unrestricted, unguarded, and a lot more vulnerable than what I am apparently showing.
So when we decided to do this, I remember you saying, um, I realized I need to forgive myself. That was pretty much our entire morning, right? And and interestingly, I think as you mentioned, it happened to you yesterday. And I was thinking, what about yourself do you need to forgive?
That I wasn't compassionate enough and kind enough to myself. I think I struggled so much with compassion, with self-compassion, that it was so hard to grasp that I wasn't compassionate and kind enough to myself, because I'm pretty kind to other people, I'm pretty compassionate to other people, but obviously I wasn't that to myself. I was still sort of being overly critical and laying on expectations to myself that were a little too much, and that was causing me a lot of overwhelm. And surprisingly, you know, and this is a good point that I'd like to make, that just because I teach this, it doesn't mean I'm exempt from it. And I think this is something that everyone needs to hear, because setting ourselves up to be exempt from sadness, to be exempt from even that inner critic, it gets less, but to be totally devoid of it, I think is setting up expectations on oneself that is going to set you up for a lot of internal disappointment. So it's huge for me to even say that it's part of self-acceptance, that it's really compassion towards the self is probably the greatest gift you can give yourself. Like, how kind are you being to yourself? How compassionate, how forgiving, how understanding are you being to yourself? And it's not easy.
So where would the happiness doctor start if she
By
needs to start with
just by
self-compassion?
just really being with yourself without having to do anything. Um, Denise, if you're here, you gave me the best advice where you said you don't have to do anything. And we're so programmed, like, what do I need to do to achieve this? Or what do I need to do now to get this? Or what do I need to do to be in this state of being? And what if you don't need to do anything? What if the solution is to just really be with yourself and just give yourself a nice hug and tell yourself it's all going to be okay, even if you're crying underneath a comforter with, chips. And, and there's always a gift to that. Like, I discovered a great TV show that I I saw yesterday on Netflix. And so, exactly, Maria, just be. And I just became me. And I just stayed with me. The staying with oneself, that's hard. Because we're always busying ourselves. We're always saying, okay, I have time, I'll finish this project. Or I have time, I'll watch Netflix. Or I have time, I'll call up Mavis, I'll have a chat, I'll go to Malu's house, and yeah, we can busy ourselves until one day it's just going to catch up with you. What show, Sanj? It's Lupin, the Lupin. It's so good. After the first episode, I started clapping. Watch it. It's really good. And so yeah, and I just, and this wasn't just a one day thing. It's been brewing, so it's been going through stages, but I just sort of totally allowed it to just do whatever it needed to do.
And I remember, Lee, last week you said, I'm going to rest.
Yes. Yes. canceled everything,
So
and
everything
I
you
just
said,
said
you're gonna start saying no.
no. Yes, because I had already been so good at saying no, and I thought that was enough. Kulang pa pala yun. So my no's now are very firm, and yeah, and it's we need to rest. I think that's where a lot of people need to be. And let's stop the doing and let's just be in our safe space. And there's no other safe space. No other human being can be your safe space. No place can be your safe space. Your inside should be your safe space. And if it's not, create your insides to be your safe space by really just being with yourself and yeah, embracing all that you are.
Lee, can you share the importance of that safe space? I mean, we talked about it earlier how this is not easy to do if you don't have that in your life. Right?
Yeah,
And
because it's the common
maybe
need.
you can share what was yours. I mean, just so they can yeah fully appreciate
Okay.
you. Yeah.
And some of you
What
here
makes
have
you
known me
feel
since
safe?
childhood, right? And you know my life. And my life wasn't always this, I wasn't always this together. And it's because I was always searching for something outside of me, whether it was drugs or alcohol or a toxic relationship or it was I was always looking for something outside of myself that I needed to feel safe in, and it just backfired. It was only when I identified safety as a primary need for me, and this was way before I started seeing patients, so I had no idea then that it's a primary need for everyone. I had to develop this primary need in me. I needed to make myself my own safe space. So it became the most important thing for me to always feel safe. And so that's what I'm calibrated towards, where I can generate my own feelings of safety and comfort. And I do this through meditation. But it's also a great calibrator, because if I am not feeling safe with a person or with a space or in a certain environment, I just leave. And this is what we call vibrational hygiene, wherein it's not a match to your frequency. You don't even judge it. You just say, it's not for me because it's not a match. And this is what I would highly encourage everyone listening, is find a way to create safety and security within. Because it's really the only way you're going to get into your sovereignty. We talk about self-sovereignty a lot. It's the only way. Because then your greatest calibrator is your own nervous system. You are your greatest calibrator of what is a match to you and what is not. And just because it's not a match doesn't mean it's bad. It's just not a match to you.
So, got that? Understand that fully, that safety is really something you generate, right? I mean, you know how to get there, like once you've kind of found your own practice. But there are people in our lives, right? You can't avoid that, right? And there will be relationships that are just are there. How do you navigate through relationships that maybe don't make you feel safe at the moment? How do you like? I know you're not spared of that. I know you experience that as well. Even if you have all these tools, there are still spaces and people that don't make you feel safe, and that's you. In our minds, you absolutely know what to do. You mean there are spaces that are not safe for Leah Bernardo? Is that possible? Can you
Mm.
share a little bit on how
Yeah,
you?
this is where we use coping skills. Number one, first of all, make sure that the situation, the relationship is really something you can't get out of, because getting out is number one. Okay. So if it's a family member or something that you can't get out of, then there are coping skills. And I give you the coping skills based on the relationship that you're having. Because if it's an abusive spouse, the first thing I'm going to tell you is get out of there. I am not one to say that you need to stay in an abusive relationship. Okay, so let's clear that up first, okay? No amount of abuse. However, let's just say it's a parent that is abusive emotionally to you, then you need to disengage, meaning you are not face to face with that parent all the time. You're not, they're not in your face. So you need to manage your side of the fence, in other words. And this is with all relationships, whether they're harmonious or not. You manage your side of the fence. And how do you do that when you, like in our society, you can't disengage, right? And so you manage yourself when you're with that person. And the answer is different per person. What I do is I sing Barney in my head. And that way I'm still smiling because Barney's cute. And I imagine him, in my head. And because my son was a Barney freak, he's already super old, but the songs are still in my head. And that way I'm not getting imprinted by what's being told to me at that particular time. But see, these are drastic cases that would need one-on-one solving. It's not a blanket solution for everyone.
I think that's also one of the more interesting sides of you that I've I've gotten to know. The fact that these tools are actually something you use to help yourself. Like you,
Mm.
not like, here's the handbook, Leah Bernardo. I'm gonna give you a certification. In the end, you are the happiness
No.
doctor now, right? I mean, this 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 is something you tried and tested and was an actual need in your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Which is
and I
why I
think
so
that's what a lot of
passionately
people don't
share it.
understand. I think that's a lot of what a lot of people don't understand, because a lot of us met you and you're already this like you speak with so much authority, right? So parang she knows it all.
It's a
She
skill.
absolutely knows it all, right? So to see that part of you that's like, oh, you didn't always know this. What do you mean? Or sometimes you're not sure. What do you mean? Like, it's kind of a little bit unsettling. Like our guru isn't sure. Like, how can that be? And I know we talk about this a lot. You always say, don't put me on a pedestal. I am human too. And yeah, I kind of want you to share a little bit about that.
Yeah, because thank you. Because we all do this when we're with our teachers. I do it to my teachers, and now I'm seeing it happening to me, and I've learned to stop doing it with my teachers because I don't want it done to me. Where you put your teacher on a pedestal, and and every one of us, I'm going to talk about the great teachers, Greg Braden, Deepak Chopra, Oprah Winfrey. They're people too. So let's not put them on a pedestal. And I'm not comparing myself to them in any way. I'm just saying that when people give us aha moments, we're sort of like, look up to them. And that happened between me and my teacher too. When they behave like human beings, you kind of get, oh my God, you know. And I did have a huge disagreement with my teacher. I'm like, but you're my teacher. Why are you behaving that way? And his answer was, because I'm just as human as you. And that, you know, and we all need to embrace our humanity. Yes, we are spiritual beings, but we are human first and foremost. and polarities exist. It's a human condition. So while I don't really say shadow and light, because I feel that human beings are integrated, let's face it, there are things about us that we're proud of, there are things about us that we're not proud of. Sometimes we react and respond with great wisdom, and sometimes it's like utterly childlike behavior. And this is what makes us human. So we all have our idiosyncrasies. I like that word because it's not a fault. And I don't ever want people to think that they are faulted or broken or there's something wrong with them. We're just human. And so what I do, what I've made it my life purpose to do, is to share what works for me. It doesn't mean I'm an expert in it. It's I share with people what I do for myself, and that's why I'm so passionate about this, because I could have easily gone the other way, quite easily, but because I chose this path, it really provided me with the solution, because I was searching for happiness for outside of myself all this time, only to find out it was in me. And that to me was the most profound learning of my lifetime. And I'd really like to share this with people because it's the answer. And that's why we call it the self-love solution. Because name the shortcut, I've tried it. And so this is like my way of saying, guys, if you really want to be happy, here it is. You know, we've done the research, we've done the work, and here it is. All you need to do is actually do it and be it. And yeah, and just be okay with being human. Like, you will have days where you're going to be irritable. You're going to have days where you're just going to roll your eyeballs, and that's okay.
When did that moment happen for you, Lee? Like I've known you as a self-love guru for like most of the time that I've known you, at least intimately. But when was that moment that you're like, oh, I need to start loving myself? Like, when does that happen? How did I don't even know the answer. I've never asked you that.
And
Sorry.
I've never really, this is the first time I'm actually going to say it. It happened in Spain. I was living there. Couldn't get my hands on my medicines. I couldn't get my hands on my downers, and I was always on downers. I never did the illegal drug route because it kept you awake. I didn't want to be awake. So I've never even tried coke. So it was downers for me. And so I used to get this from psychiatrists, from, you know, those nondescript hospitals, and then just get a prescription, and I knew what to take. And when I moved to Spain, I had no access to it. And that's when I started asking myself, hey, there's more to life than just drugging yourself so that you're asleep half the day and night. And my age is showing, the internet was new. And and now I think it's divinely guided, because Mayo's here, gave me a book on how to talk to your angels. And this story I've shared, where she said, Lee, it's in English, come, let's read this. And she made me a photocopy in her office, and she gave me the book. Maya, are you here? And she gave me the book, and she goes, okay, read it. And I called her up one fine day, and I go, they're answering me. And she's like, okay, what? So that was a funny moment, because she's like, what did you think?
What did she say? What did you think?
What did you think?
I think. What did you think? Maya, are you here? That's hilarious. What did you
And I'm
think? What
like,
are you hearing? Okay, go. And then
right? And I was like, they're answering me. And that sort of, I said, wait a minute, I'm not so weird after all. Maybe these things that I've been feeling and I've been seeing. So I started Googling empath. And that's when I understood what an empath was. If you guys want a good teacher on managing your empathy, Judith Orloff was one of my first books. And it was called, I think, Emotional Freedom. I forgot the title. And Judith Orloff was the first one I read on managing being an empath. And I said, this is me. And everything I'm feeling is not entirely mine. And then I discovered Reiki, found myself a Reiki teacher, and the rest was history. So very slowly, the bad habits started to just stop. And then I dove into it, and I'm certified in practically every healing modality there is, but I still felt that I needed something deeper, and I wanted to make this my living. And being an energy healer, I needed something more. And so that's when Christy Reeves and Edna Chua introduced me to Dr. Kobe Foreman, and I signed up for my PhD.
Okay, so hearing the angels. When was this? When was
Babalik
this?
talaga tayo doon, di ba?
No, talaga. When was this?
Oh, Mayo knows the years. I don't know the years.
10
Mayo will type
years
the
ago?
year.
Okay, so then it's been a
I'm not
long
seeing the comments for some odd reason. Yeah.
um and we talked about this earlier, how there's you kind of exist in this space where it's spiritual, right? And how do you now bring that to the material or the physical world? How do we marry that, right? And I think
I'm so
that's
happy.
yeah, I think that's
I'm
one of the
happy to
reasons
hear this question.
doing this, right?
Yes.
Because I think you're
And
right.
that's the self-love solution. You'll see that the self-love solution has nothing to do with the esoteric. We've made it real world, life skills. So while, yes, I started in the esoteric with the angels, with energy healing, with channeling, the self-love solution is based mainly on psychoneurology, which is already behavioralism. And what it is that it's groundbreaking because it works on your subconscious mind, which is responsible for 90% of your behavior. So what happens is it's a very realistic and this world approach to self-love, wherein it's really grounded. And yes, it's spiritual in nature, but it's also grounded spirituality. There's a lot of mindfulness, there's a lot of meditation, there's a lot of, so we don't talk to angels in the self-love solution. It's move, learn, grow, create. It's raising frequencies. And it's through movement, through learning life skills, through creating your own heaven on earth. And the grow part is the stillness of spending time alone with yourself, because you cannot do this without being able to spend time alone in the pleasure of your own company. You have to be your own best friend when you're loving yourselves.
I was just thinking when you said self-love solution doesn't teach you how to speak to angels, and I'm thinking to myself, because you've done it for us.
Yan,
It reminds me of you know how authors or poets say the stories just kind of come through them, like words are like running away from
Yes.
them. And
Yeah.
I believe in
It
my
is.
heart the self-love solution
Absolutely.
really through you, and
Absolutely.
it's guided.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
A-
I mean, we
And,
talk about it, but this is the first time I'm seeing it this way.
yeah. And you know me, I have zero structure. And so the prayer was, how do I put structure into this? And it was in the shower where
Where
it
it all
I
happens.
where it all happens, and move, learn, grow became the structure. Create came much later. So it was first move, learn, grow, and then I have someone, I still don't have her permission to say her name, so I won't, but um, she um, she added one more to it, and it was engaging, to engage. But you have to first be with you yourself, and then that's when you engage.
I love that. You've never told me that. I
Yeah,
think where we're kind of
yeah,
finding ourselves today, right? We've
yeah,
nurtured ourselves, and
yeah, yeah,
when the world begins to open up, you're thinking, how am I gonna start engaging with the world? Like, I
yeah,
don't think anyone has remained unchanged the past year and a half. I experienced that a
exactly.
few weeks ago, and I'm like, wait a minute, oh my god, like, yeah, it's a bit unsettling, um, but yeah, to engage as well. I think it's a whole other discussion.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, so thank you for this guided self-love solution gift that you've
thank you.
so
And let's do more of this. This was
well, for
fun.
both of us. Yeah. I have I don't know, one last question. I don't know if anyone, Mia, do you want to say something? But I have
Yeah, I
one question.
can't read the comments, so Mavis will
Neither
have
can
to read it for us. Oh, okay.
uh,
Somehow the comments froze, but I can
okay,
see the little
well,
hearts, so
yeah,
thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. Yeah, if anyone has any questions for the birthday girl, today we celebrate you, Leah, for for it's really such an honor because what you've taught us, we share with others, and they've shared with others, and I've seen it in my
Yes,
own
please.
family, and the friendships that I have are also richer because of it, and it's
And
really a
it
gift.
works. It
It
really
works.
works.
It works.
And it leads to
Okay.
harmonious relationships, which is what everybody desires.
Say that again. It leads to harmonious relationships. I can attest to that. 100%. My family has never been better. My relationship with my son has never been better. My relationship with my husband has never been better. And well, as Leah mentioned earlier, I'm lucky that she lives a few floors down from me, and we can have coffee. So I have really one-on-one tutorials on demand. So really an honor to be able to do this and to see that heart of yours every day, every
Thank
morning,
you.
trying to show up the best that you can. And okay, wait. I kind of want to go back to this moment where you said, I don't know what you want to share about it, but let me just share a little bit. You came home from Baguio, and for some reason we were like, come now with me to Batangas, right? You came home overnight and I picked you up and we were driving. And I remember days after you were like, Mavis, I'm not okay. I'm like, what do you mean you're not okay? You're like, I'm really not okay. I'm like, you're not okay? Um, and I know you put that on your post today, how we helped you during that time. But I don't even think I've said this to you. We really didn't know. I mean, I know you were going through something, and um, what I wanna, I guess, pull out of that story is, how do you feel um, people around you can help? Let's just say you, right? When we don't even know what's going on. Like, what made you feel that situation helped you come together again? And we don't even need to know why. It's just that, what about the environment? I think that's important there. The
Yeah,
environment that's conducive to healing. I think that's really important. 'Cause even
Yes.
for
Oh,
ourselves, right?
yes.
We can say, okay, self-love solution, do this, do that. But if the environment you're in, and I've seen this in my own family, if the environment you're in is not conducive to healing, so I'd like you to share maybe your personal experience. What
Yes.
helps you through those times?
Yeah, I came down from Baguio, and Malu and I are on the same floor. So as soon as I arrived home, the elevator opened and she was about to go to work. She was the first person I saw. And this was at the height of COVID where you're not even supposed to touch each other. And I just jumped on her and I just hugged her and I cried. She had no idea what hit her. She brought me to my apartment and she just sat with me. She didn't go to work. She just sat with me. And what I valued the most about that is that she didn't even ask why. She just sat there. And then that night you said, I don't care. And I don't care. You're coming with me. And I spent one night here and spent a month with you in the beach, right? I think it's like 3 weeks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And just to show you how resourceful Mavis is. Okay, this is an important point. She put me in the best house in the beach. And that's why I said, that was such a special time because Jim, Mavis's husband, and Mavis were just there for me, right? And nobody asked why. And I didn't feel I had to give a reason why. And it's just holding space. See, this is what taking responsibility for your side of the fence means. It doesn't mean you're okay all the time, but you put yourself together again when things are not okay. But that presence of your friends, that presence of that safe space to just say, I'm going to my room after dinner and not having to socialize because you just want to bawl your eyes out. And being in the beach, that safe space, people just loving you without trying to fix you. I think that's so important. And this is why community and friendships are so important. Because I think what COVID has taught me is that keep your circle small. Keep that circle really, really small and tight because when you need them, they're going to come to you and they're not even going to ask questions. And to me, that holding space for me to fix myself or to put myself back together again because, I was not okay. I needed to find my wholeness again, but nobody can bring you to your wholeness except yourself. And sometimes, we're not aligned with our wholeness. So I think that might be a better term rather than fix yourself. It's to realign yourself with your wholeness. Because sometimes things can happen in your life that can completely discombobulate you. And just because you love yourself, it doesn't mean you can never get discombobulated. Okay? It's just when things don't go the way you want it to or the way you foresee it or that you've gotten hurt by someone you love, it's important that you have friends who will just be there. I remember this was to me one of the most important moments during that time was, if you guys know me, I don't even walk, okay? So when Mavis and our other friend decided to go hiking, I was like, I'm not going hiking. And they're like, come on, Lee, just walk with us. I'm like, no, I'm sitting here. And I stayed in one chair directly across Mavis's husband, Jim, and we just sat there. And 2 hours later, Mavis came back with our other friend, completely drenched. And looking at her husband and me and going, anong ginawa nyo? We had not uttered a single word to each other. And that's holding space. Like, it wasn't even important to talk or to do anything for that matter. We were just spaced out in both our worlds, but it was safe, right? So that was a good time.
Yeah. Presence talaga. I've done that for my own family, for my son.
Yeah.
The greatest advice that was given to me was zip your mouth, mama. just just be with your child. No need to tell
Just
him
let
what
them
to
be
do,
who
what's
they're
wrong. Yeah,
supposed to be.
yeah, and enjoy them. I learned
Stop trying
that
to
late in
fix.
the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because
Yeah.
you always feel doing something is loving them, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I think I understood that by the time we were together, and so I knew, and what you've taught me also about frequency and vibration. So I knew to simply be in that space and keep the space light and happy is the most you can do, right? I also want to say one more thing. I'm not sure where this question is headed, but the emotion that you felt then, right? This was maybe, yeah, a year ago almost. There was a situation in your life, and it's not kasi, okay, wait, how do I just, it's not that the situation wasn't okay and you were sad and you had to fix it, right? Parang the way, and I've seen you through it. It was something that you had actually had to understand, and I saw your perspective on it change through the months that came, right? So it's not it. Parang I feel when something happens, when there's sadness, pain, whatever, anxiety, whatever, it's actually leading you somewhere if you allow it to,
Absolutely.
right? I want
Yes.
to make that point, Lee, because where you were
Yes.
then, it's not like you fixed that situation and okay, maayos na. Not at all. You allowed it to take you through, and until today, we're still learning from it. I'm learning from it, right? I just I think that's a very important point lang to make. It's not a bad thing. It's something you need to allow. You talk about that all the time, right? You need to allow. Can you take us through that? Maybe how you did it yourself, because you're also learning. Your perspective
That's a
changed as you
long.
allowed and allowed and allowed. You know,
Yeah.
go for it.
I'm going to try to make the answer as short as possible, but I cannot answer this without talking about soul contracts, because we make agreements with souls, like-minded souls, people who are our soul friends, to teach us certain things. And this is why there's no such thing as bad people. Okay? Because if there are people that will quote unquote hurt you, that's already an indication to you how much you care about that person. Provided that you're not caring so much about what everybody else is saying about you. And if you've already removed that from your life, when people actually make an impact on you, whether it's happy or to hurt you or whatever, any form of impact, it means that there is a caring there and there is love there. So there's no such thing as bad people or so and so hurt me. Remember, no one can hurt you without your permission. It's your perspective of what happened that is hurting you. And so I think that needs to be established so that we get out of that whole victim mentality wherein so and so hurt me, so and so is a bad person, so and so is an abuser. I want to get completely out of that whole framework. And this is what happens when you find yourself in a position where you're hurting. Okay, what you need to do now is, it really happens through prayer. It cannot happen any other way. And you pray for grace. What is grace? Grace to me is the essence of the divine. It's the essence of God. And when you pray for grace, what I do is I give grace permission and I allow grace to direct my learning, my growth. Because if I keep letting my mind run the same patterns over and over and over again, I'll never grow. I'll just keep going through that whole analysis paralysis thing of why did this happen to me? What did I do to create it? You know, what if you didn't do anything to create it? What if nobody did anything to create it? It's just there to enrich you, to make you evolve, and to make you experience this because it's leading to something else, something greater, something more profound, something more loving. Don't second guess, meaning we just allow grace into our space and give grace the reins. Let grace drive and just follow. And this is why allowing, which is a huge part of the self-love solution, it's one of the pillars of self-nurturing, is when you allow, you witness miracles every day because it's telling grace to say, hey, do what you're supposed to do. And then you become an observer of your life rather than a reactor to your life. So you don't react to your life, you respond to it in a way of, what's this telling me? What did this teach me? What is it making me understand about myself and others? How is this teaching me to relate to other people in the future? So it's still you deciding, but you allow that grace to permeate your being, your consciousness. And then that's where the magic happens. That's why magic is so real. I'm not even going to call magic esoteric. Magic and miracles can be a part of our everyday lives if we let. So I hope that answers it. That's the short version.
Yeah. And when we say allow, it's everything about it. It's everything about that experience, right?
Yes. And
It's your
you experience it without, I don't want to say without judgment, because you will judge because you're
yeah.
hurt, right? How can you not judge? It's just, you just experience it, period, without having to say this is good, this is bad, happy or sad. It's just an experience of it. Then you transcend that feeling. And then, okay, this is important. You allow also the pain to catapult you into growth. Because we have this really bad habit of avoiding pain. It's such a bad habit that we created shame around avoiding pain. And pain is the catalyst for growth. Growth cannot happen without that pain. So go ahead, experience the pain, because there's only beauty behind that. There's only grace behind that. There's only miracles behind that. But shame, that's something you shouldn't even be entertaining. That's a whole
I just
nother
have to
topic.
share, Lee. I think one of the biggest lessons for me too this past year was to acknowledge pain or when you're hurt.
Mm,
Because I
mm,
also, a little bit about me to drive the point home. I also, I mean, I grew up, my friends who know me will say I'm so steady. Like nothing phases me. Like, I don't know, even random thought, but even with past boyfriends, like it's like, yeah, whatever. Okay lang. Everything was okay lang. And it was literally just this year that I'm like, wait a minute, di okay eh. It's not okay. And I think even my husband got shocked one day. I'm like, wait a minute, that's absolutely not okay. And then he's like, after 20 years, like there's something not okay with you. And all these 20 years, you've been okay now. So I think that's also when our relationship grew. And I sat with that. I sat with, why is this not okay with me? I remember He was thinking, what's going on with you? I'm like, I'm thinking, I don't know why it's not okay with me. Let me sit with this for a while. And I'll let you know once I've figured it out. But it's really not okay with me. And more often than not, it's what you're going through. It's what that situation brought up from within. That's what and I think what I want to say is, if I did not acknowledge that hurt, that pain, it would have robbed me of that lesson, right? It would have robbed me of that growth, the personal growth. It would have robbed me of that growth in my relationship. And it takes courage to say that's not okay. But guys, it's worth it. Oh my God.
It's worth it.
After 20 years of marriage, never too late.
And folks, the pain will disappear. The shame will not.
Yeah. Wow, but I have to sit with that. That was huge. Even conflict for me, that I was so afraid. That's why I'd never say that hurt me, because I didn't want to deal with conflict. But because of the tools that you've taught me, I know myself well enough. I know my truth. I can get through conflicts now. I'm not.
Yes.
Yeah, right. I'm not going to back down anymore. Right? And being friends with you, man, you have to really learn how to speak. I was telling you, I mean, I'm sure some of our friends are laughing here because she always says things with such authority that you're like, oh my God, how am I going to disagree with this woman? I disagree right now. And so thank you, Lee. It's been
thank you for this. What a nice birthday. Thank you, Mavis. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. Wow, I didn't expect this many people, and I'm so grateful. So grateful.
You have
so
7 more minutes. So anyone else that wants to, oh, Jim is there. Oh my God, he heard me say all that.
Hi, Jim.
I can't win now. He cannot. He cannot.
Yeah, I can't see any of the comments.
No, not just that. He's like, are you reading my mind already? He's like, I'm scared of you. I'm like, yep, cannot lie to me anymore. I didn't know Jim was there. Thanks, babe.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyway, thank you guys. Vicky, sending love. Nathan, thank you. Mayo.
Thank you.
Boy, thanks for being here, everyone. Such an honor to have this conversation with you, to celebrate you, Leah.
I am so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you for doing what you do and for going through all your own pain to be able to distill that into lessons for all of us. I know at heart you always say, I'm a teacher. And I can tell, like, I'm asking you stuff and you're like wanting to convert it into a teaching. But I think the greatest gift is that teaching comes with a whole lot of experience.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you 50-something years of experience. Self-love solution is not a book that was written, or in a year. This is 53 years. The self-love solution is 53 years, and coming up is more on forgiveness. We look forward to that. I know you're scared. Just the thought of it. You're scared already.
Yeah, just the thought, right? Yeah, but it will get
Vicky
there.
says, happy birthday, oldest Halandoni.
and happy birthday on the 27th. Oh, I can't see the comments. Yay.
Happy birthday, Mia. Chicky Lara, love you. My 2 lovely neighbors, Chicky. Bernie Aboites, give it, live it. We need self-love. Hi, Bernie.
Oh, thank you, birds.
I'm going to try and read what you can't see, Leah. Love you both. I think this is Nathan. Mayo, happy birthday. Camille, happy birthday. Nathan, love you both. Abby, happy birthday. Vicky Halandoni, love you both. Nakayama Raquel, thank you, Mavis.
Oh,
love you, Leah Mayo. Thank you for sharing. There you go. Your friends are here.
Thank you, everyone. Love you guys.
We did it once and for all. You'll have to end the call because I don't know how this works.
Okay, let me
For the
try to
love of
figure this
Leah.
out. Bye,
Hi,
everyone.
guys.
Okay, are you sure you want to end your live video? And